I'm Daniel.
And I'm Jordan.
And we're Daniel and Jordan. Welcome back to the show, you guys.
Welcome back. We're excited.
Man.
We're amped up, aren't we?
What episode is this? I've already forgot.
Four? Yeah.
4?
Wow.
I'm excited on the path that we're going.
I'm extremely excited.
Yeah.
This is the most excited I've been in a very long time.
What do you think is our next move?
Our next move? I think we're going to be traveling, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that is exciting to me.
Yeah, it's different, you know. It's different. Usually podcasts are all in the same area, same studio, same setting. We do have a home base.
Yeah.
But it's going to be unique to have those, a change of scenery.
Yeah. I think it gives us so many options to do whatever we want with our lives.
And we're not going to tell you all of our secrets because we don't want you stealing our crappy ideas.
Yeah, yeah. Good thing you said that because I was about to spill all the beans.
So weekly update. What you been doing this past week, Jordan?
This week, let's see here. I vacuumed the store.
The store
endlessly at my job.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I do now is vacuum.
So that's why you don't want to vacuum when Caney tells you to vacuum.
Yeah. I have to go home after this and vacuum. Yeah. So I've been working, which, is nice because I do a lot of manual labor to where I get to actually mentally think about this. And so I just sit around thinking of ideas for this and my music. And then yesterday we finally finished a song. My band has a song fully mixed and everything.
And it sounds great.
Yeah, I'm excited for the sound. I think we'll find our niche.
It's groovy, it's unique, and it's almost like it reminds me of the stuff I used to listen to, back
fun.
In the day.
It's all about fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the chorus is about selling drugs to kids. So.
It doesn't get any funner than that. Here you go, Johnny. Take your little X.
Yeah, the pharmaceuticals have been doing it to us forever.
Yeah, that's true. They've been feeding us lies.
I want a piece of that
pie. Well, for me, was there anything else that you've been doing this week?
I think that's about it. Besides us just getting all this organized and thinking of all the business and the admin, and
it's a lot.
Oh, it's a lot, but it's exciting to think about it for the first time. It'll be old soon. But
I always tell people who is like, I'm thinking about starting a podcast, which I've gotten people messages like, hey, what should I get? This, that, and the other. It's a lot of work. It's more work than what people think. And, some of it's kind of money too. Like some of the stuff's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Which, you can get by with certain things, but there's certain things that you need, right? But I always push people to do it. If it's something you want to do, you need to do it, but it does take work and it does take some time. So.
It needs structure, most importantly, and that's what we have been doing is building a foundation for a structure of how to do this to make it easy for us to focus on the content. Mm-hmm. The work part is put into templates and it's just got structure to where we know how to go about to achieve whatever our ideas are to allow us to be as creative as possible. And you can do that with whatever you got. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I've made music and things like that with really crappy gear a lot of my life. Of course, none of it was good or successful.
You remember when we used the Turtle Beach headset for the microphone?
Yeah, you would just hold the headset in your hand like it's a microphone and sing into it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love it.
Just start.
Yeah.
Just start and then form structures to make things easier for yourself. As many technical things that you can push into just like being automated or workflow that allows you to be creative and have fun. And
it's all about taking that first step. So I always tell people just to do it,
Keep building.
Keep building. And what's unique about this is usually people do 3 episodes. When I launched my podcast, I launched with 3 episodes. I think we should be at 5 episodes.
Yeah. So when you hear this, you should probably even have another one after this to hear.
Yeah. So enjoy. Yeah. If you're still here.
If you're still here. Or we're talking to no one. This is a complete waste of our time.
Yeah. But for me, this past week, just the usual grind. We've been filming, just doing some editing, been putting a little more time into Daniel and Jordan here, which is fun. I enjoy it.
You were up late last night.
I was up late last night. So, little quick story. Okay, story time with Daniel here. My wife got a new kitty litter box. Okay. And so get the knock on the door, drops off the box, and then she's like, "Oh, honey, go get the stuff. It's, FedEx dropped off a package." Okay, cool. So I go get the FedEx box, and she wants to film this story on social media, on our Instagram. And she's like, "Oh, Instagram, check out this cool new modern cat box." And she's pulling it out, piling up all the parts, all the trash and papers. And then she's like, after the story shuts off, she's like, "Okay, I'm going upstairs to give Leighton a bath. Put this together, and then when you're done, take out the trash." I'm like, I didn't order this.
It's good for you, Daniel, okay? She puts you to work. That's what my woman does to me, and it's good for us, all right?
It keeps us on track.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be nowhere to be found. I'll be in my little cove in the corner, like you. I'm sure you are right here behind us. Just stuck in there, your head in the screen.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my happy place.
I do too. Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Honestly, when she did that to me, it pissed me off.
Yeah, that's right. You hit her, right?
I wanted to. In the back of the head. Remember what I said in the last episode? The back of the head.
Yes.
No,
and
she
we
would
don't
probably
support
beat me
that.
up.
We're not saying that's what you should do. We're just saying
if
it's a possibility.
Yes. If you ever happen to want that itch to just hit her, do it in the back of the head. But don't take my word for it.
Don't do that.
I heard it on an episode, a podcast I used to listen to. I'm just telling you what I know.
We're not legally liable here.
But yeah, so she drops all that. She goes upstairs, and then I'm stuck with this pile of modern cat assembly, which was not that
modern
easy.
Cat assembly.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Modern technology for cat
cats.
Shit.
Yeah, and piss. So they can go in from the top or they can go in from the side, and she just had to have it. And then listen to how bougie this company is. The box that it comes in, you can poke all the holes out. They're like perforated lines. Poke all the holes out, and it becomes a cat toy for your cat.
So the cat can
play in the box
while it's shitting.
Well, no.
It comes out from shitting.
Yeah,
to play with
it takes
toy.
a shit and then comes in here and like plays with this little toy.
When are they going to put a screen in there like how we do now when we poop?
Know.
And so you can watch its TikToks while it poops.
I was like, I thought I seen it all until then. And then that was new for me.
Dude, pets have it so easy.
Yeah, eat, sleep, pee, and poop. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid, but I wish I could do it now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
In my bed.
I'm all over myself. Unfortunately, you have to, get to work and keep your mind busy and do all these productive things, keep up your house, vacuum.
God.
But, it's just the circle of life. Yeah. Eventually, when we get older, we'll be shitting on ourselves again.
That's right. And we'll have the AI robot come and wipe us right up.
Thanks, Johnny. You are welcome.
You are welcome.
But yeah, so I got that put together, and then I took all the trash out. But yeah, that's about it. I'm planning a podcast with another gentleman, and just keeping it interesting, because whether you're a comedian, a musician, a magician, a business owner, you all have a story of how you got to where you are, because, whether that be trials and tribulations you've come across, but you have a success story, especially if you're successful in what you do. And that is inspiring to me, whether you own a business or a musician. A success story is a success story, just like managing a burger joint or managing a tuxedo place. It's the same thing. Management's management. So yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah, I think the point of it is just hearing from people who have expertise in certain fields, and it's not about what you do; it's about how you do what you do. And if you have a thing that you do, you're probably somewhat of an expert in that field in some forms, maybe not the top level.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to hear people's their madness to their methods.
Yeah.
And, that's
it's
awesome.
Interesting. But yeah, that's been about my week. Leighton was on one last night. I stayed up forever.
And Leighton's his 2-year-old,
yes.
Just to let you know. 2 years old.
2 years old. And I guess, since she's 2 years old, she thought it'd be a great idea for me to get 2 hours of sleep last night. So that was
your
rough.
Child.
But, I feel good. It's so weird. The longer I sleep, the shittier I feel.
What's like your prime? What do you think is the best amount of sleep for you? Because it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah, I always struggle whenever I initially wake up. But after that 10 or 15 minutes, I'm ready.
But Like what? How much? Like
I'd
you talking about
say-
8 hours? Is that too much?
No, I think it's too much. I think 5.
Oh, I am jealous.
Yeah, I think 5 hours.
5.
But that's
7
what
for
I'm
me.
so used to because I've always stayed up late and woke up early, you know, because, you know, I've worked hard I started working when I was like 14. So when I'm a kid, though, I'm like wanting to play video games with my friends or stay up late or write music with my best friend, you know? So it's like you still have this work life you have to do. So I still got to wake up early and go to work, but I still want to play whenever I get off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Give up video games and all that at 14 and see here, I'm 33.
Still
I'm
rocking.
trying to do the math. I'm trying.
Never stopped. But yeah, man, what was I even saying?
Well, for me, sleep is like 7 hours. I always have slept 8 just because like you always are recommended 8 hours of sleep. But I'm be honest, I always wake up 7 hours in and I'm like, oh, I think I got an extra hour of sleep. Go to sleep for an hour, wake up groggy because I slept an hour longer than I should be sleeping.
And I heard your brain, so I'm going to get it wrong, but they say like when your alarm goes off, you're supposed to get up because your brain does something. And if you were to it shuts off your whole body. Like if you go to sleep again, your brain, each minute long, it takes your body that long, like hours to wake up. A minute is like an hour or something I've heard.
Brought to you by science.
Yes, by Daniel. Daniel's words
We
of
ran
wisdom.
the experiments. Trust us.
But yeah, it's true. Like even I feel that if my alarm goes off and I'm like, oh, I hit the snooze, you know, and then I doze off, you know, my brain goes into that deep sleep and then it goes off again. And it's like, I'm more tired than I was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Way more tired. I'm more tired than I was before I fell asleep.
Or have you ever woke up in the middle of the night at like 2 or 3 in the morning to go pee or get something to drink? And you're like, man, I'm wide awake. But then you feel like you have to go back to sleep because it's 3 in the morning. It's not normal to be up at this time.
Yeah.
And then you wake up at 7 or 8 and you're just like dead.
Yeah. I had heard something like that's like how people used to do it back in the day. Is like they would sleep and they'd get up in the middle of the night, do a thing for an hour or two, and then go back to bed. And like my father, I know that he would wake up in the middle of the night and just go and read on the couch for an hour or two, and then fall back asleep. Yeah, he had like his own study room.
Whitney's thing is mini muffins right now. She'll wake up at 2, go downstairs for 10 or 15 minutes, knock out 4 bags of mini muffins, and then go back to bed.
That'll put you right to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep full. And, you know, not hungry.
Yeah.
Well, what's today's word of the day?
Word of the day. Well,
it's always I look forward to this segment.
I do too. You know, and I give it a lot of thought while I'm vacuuming through the week. That's true. I have my little book where I write in my words. This week, I think a good starting word would be mentorship. I think we need to look towards experts and people who are older and wiser than us who have done what we were trying to do and look for advice. And they are the people who have the most experience. They've made the most mistakes. They know the right path and the epiphanies that you need to hit to get to the level that you want to get to. And I think, you know, I guess I had options for mentors, but I was always very closed off to like mentors growing up, just because like, you know, you have to admit that you're younger and more and not as wise as them to able to accept a mentor. And I didn't have that, I guess. And so with like music, YouTube is a great place for this. You can go on YouTube and it's not the first person you look at when you search these things. Those people are the ones who are trying to sell you something typically. But like a little bit later, you'll find a guy who's a little bit older talking about that subject. Watch that guy's videos and then compare it to the other people. And you can kind of tell who actually knows what they're talking about, who is trying to give you information to actually teach you, and who is trying to give you information to sell you something.
Or catch a view, or, you know, they're fighting for hashtags at that point.
You'll know.
Yeah.
And it's important to find those people, listen to them, and take to heart to some of the lessons they're trying to teach you, because most of them know the epiphanies that they're trying to give you.
Yeah. Who are you looking to now, or like who's that mentor now?
I've been wanting to shout this guy out, and I know he is a totally random person. His name's Justin Coletti at Sonic Scoop.
Is that a restaurant?
He does sound. He was a producer for years. Now he's a master engineer.
Oh wow!
And he just runs a channel talking about mixing and really just anything, all music. One of his videos once was about why you should quit trying to mix music, and it was basically saying if you're a musician and you're trying to mix your own music, you need to become an expert at being a musician, not a mixing it. You should be hiring someone to mix your music and be the greatest musician you can be. And that set in well with me, this idea of becoming, instead of being a jack of all trades, becoming an expert at what you do so that you have a service to offer other people. You can collab with other people who are experts at their field, and then you can build something really great while everyone has separate jobs and everyone's making money.
So you feel like, so when you said mentorship, I'm thinking someone that I physically know. So this person doesn't know you, nor have you ever had a conversation with them. So you're saying it's okay to have a mentor who you just don't talk to on a day-to-day.
Right. I mean, I think that would be great. I haven't had a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, besides my father, I haven't had a lot of just like, you know, it's hard to make a connection with people, especially nowadays with how much we're stuck in our phones, to make a real connection with someone who's like able to just be there and talk to you about all things. If you have that, that's absolutely great.
Yeah.
And that would be a great way to do it. I'm just really, this is how I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And because like, I don't know a lot of
and
people.
you were you were young too. You were the youngest of two brothers as well. So.
Right. And so my father was older when I was growing up. So like, you know, he didn't have as much time to do some of those things. And like Bill Burr, honestly, Bill Burr, huge mentor of mine. I call him Second Daddy. And
you're about to have another Second Daddy.
But his advice section on his podcast, the Monday Morning Podcast, he gives some of the best advice he's not licensed or anything, but just knowing that you can tell he's a good person because he's just honest and open about him not being a professional and things like that. And it just kind of, you can pay attention in that advice section and pick up on things that you can apply to your own life. And it changes your mentality in your life, and it helps you grow up, become a man. It helps you with all these things. It all compounds into like just like a frame of mind.
Right.
All these different people that I look up to, and making sure that they're good, honest people, and let them make an impression on you. Mm-hmm. Allow that to happen.
I always caught myself at a young age hanging around older people.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of people that say, like, I have an old soul. Like, have you ever heard that saying, you have an old soul? And I've also heard that if younger people don't hang out with older people, we don't know how to slow down. And then if older people don't hang out with younger people, they don't keep up with the time. So it's good to, you know, be around that older person to know when to slow down and enjoy life and learn from them, you know. And I did a lot of that with my cousin. He was older than me. I don't know how old he is now, 38. I'm 33. Yeah. But all his friends were, I was always the younger guy hanging out with them, you know. So I always hung out around older people. And, you know, I think that's right. And having an older mentor who's been there and learned and done and already made the mistake. And I guess most of the time our parents can be a mentor as well.
Absolutely. They should be. But a lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.
Mine were, but at the time.
You, by the way, for the people listening to audio only, not Daniel. I'm talking about you at home.
You and the camera. But, you know, you don't want to hear that as a young kid. You don't want to hear your parents say, hey, that's not a good decision. You shouldn't be doing that. Or, hey, you should be saving your money instead of wasting it on this, you know. And maybe it's because it's your mom.
Yeah.
You know. But if you were to hear that from a stranger, like an old man sitting at a park bench, you know, like, hey, sonny, you better save your money.
Yeah.
You know, would it mean more? You know, probably. Yeah.
It doesn't sometimes, but it should. It should make a connection with you that this person doesn't probably care about you that much because they don't know you that well. It's like, that's the problem, right, with your parents. It's like, they're going to kind of love you no matter what.
Right.
So like this advice is like, that's great. You'll still love me. But he's just telling you something. Mm-hmm. He's just giving you advice. And that's where like the cliches are usually always true. And usually that's why older people are saying a lot of cliches.
Right.
It's because they are true. A lot of that advice is pit holes that people have fallen into at some point in their life. And they're just trying to help you not fall into the same pit hole. And I think like for people who are older, like, I know that there was a time at my jobs where I started working with people a little bit younger than me. And I think it's important to know that you are a leader in that moment and that you are making an impression on the world, the future of the world.
Yeah, I think it's
important. Those things, and that change it. Like your kids are going to have to live in that world, and you are going to make that impression. And how do you want the world to be? And that's up to you.
Did you find yourself giving it, like, if they would do something, or if they would bring up a topic, you're like, hey, listen to this. Let me tell you this.
It makes you feel like a douchebag.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you know everything. And I definitely try to come with that vibe that I don't know everything.
Right.
But I do know some things about how I want the world to be.
Mm-hmm.
And some things are serious.
Yeah, but what's funny too is I've done that, but I do feel that way at first, like, who am I?
Yeah, who am I to say anything?
But as you continue to do that, it's almost like that person comes to you eventually and is like, hey, Jay, what do you think about this? What should I do? And you know what? It's
then
weird.
You get nervous because then you're like, oh no, I actually do have a responsibility.
Now I have to teach this person.
Now I have to live this life that I'm teaching.
Yeah.
And it's important to definitely live the life that you're teaching. And if you're not, to be open and honest, I think about the mistakes that you're still making to this day. Because like I'm 33 and I can teach a 20-year-old a lot of things about life. But a 40-something-year-old can teach me a lot of things about life. So to be open and honest with a 20-year-old, be like, look, I haven't figured it all out yet at 33, which is important for him to know that he has 13 years to learn as much as I did, or he could learn more. And I'm still not learning. It's not the end at the end of your 20s if you haven't found the perfect thing. Yeah. Even at the end of your 30s, people in their 40s find something. Yep. They find the love of their lives. They find all these things over time. It's not a rush game.
Self-growth over time.
Learn something now. Keep that going. Learn something tomorrow. Learn something the next day.
Piggybacking off of what you just said is, I feel like it's important to be a people person throughout life, to have those experiences, because if you're kind of shut off to the world and not a people person, you're going to have a hard time learning from somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I love people. And whether you're 60, I love old people. They're cute. They're, handsome.
We're about to say sexy?
Yeah. I was about to say sexy for some awkward reason. But I love old people. I love what they got to bring to the table. I love the stories. I love I love hearing the stories multiple times, because that's how my grandpa was. He would tell me like this story of him and his brother who dropped a match down an oil well and it blew up and burnt their eyebrows off. I probably heard it 50 times. But, I love that about old people. And I feel like you should definitely become a people person if you're not, so that way you can get this advice from other people. And when you're out in the, restaurant eating and you see someone, you walk up and say, hey, how are you doing? Like, I found myself talking to so many random people, and the kids are like, who's that? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just good to say hi to people, I feel like.
Yeah, and even like what they're saying, mentorship, where you're finding people to mentor you and you're mentoring other people. It doesn't mean that the mentor can't learn from the student or whatever. You can learn from what the kids are doing nowadays. Like, what are they into? What that's how you keep up with the times idea. They have a life experience that's totally different than yours, especially in the world we live in now, where technology is so fast evolving. It's important to keep up with them, to find out what is happening in the world, because as much as you want to be all like a bit
stuck in your ways,
anti progression or whatever.
I don't like a damn cell phone.
It ain't changing a thing, and you ain't changing a thing with that opinion. No. You might as well. We need to be prepared for progression and to adapt to it more than we need to be like stuck in our ways. And I understand traditions need to be held on tightly, that because that does come from like the older, wiser people. We need to listen to that advice. At the end of the day, we know kids ain't listening to like kids. They're growing up with technology advances that we don't have any idea what it was like to grow up with. And that's just a reality of it. It's not their fault either. It's just the reality of the world we live in.
Yeah, I mean, look at Tanya Lee, for example. Perfect example. She's what? I don't want to get your age wrong, Tanya. 53 or 63? I don't think she's 63. I'm going to go with 53. That's the best thing you can do.
Very polite of her.
But she's 53. 3-point-something million followers on TikTok. She's figured it out.
Yeah. And that's what I was telling you earlier, was this, we have to figure this out now, because the kids in the future are going to figure out how to do all this social media stuff.
Definitely.
It's like they're going to grow up with it so much that it's just the new times, and I'm sure it'll be something else, right? I don't know what will we be doing? Holographics living in your house with you.
We'll have those Ray-Bans on, that's for sure.
Yeah, you probably have sex with me, holographic style, you know?
That sounds interesting.
I'm not talking to specifically you, Daniel. I'm talking to just anyone out there with meta glasses. But you never know, and you got to do your best you can, and I'm sure that the ball just keeps rolling down the hill, right? You got to tap out at some point. I also get that, but if you're wanting to do something and not be stuck feeling like a slave working for whatever, you just have to adapt.
You have to change with times because it's just going to keep on changing.
And them young kids know about it. Pay attention to what they're doing.
Yep. I tried to tell my mom when I was younger, I knew what I was doing on the, when MySpace first came out, we had dial up. I was like, we need to get better internet. And you hear that, you don't need that. Well, guess what? Now we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have our first, someone needing some advice.
Okay. If you have advice you want to give us, feel free to message us on Instagram, YouTube. I don't know if that has messaging. I'm so old.
You can comment on YouTube.
Yeah, comment on YouTube, anything. We've got an email. I'm sure you can find that somewhere. We'll have a way to contact by the time this comes out.
Yes,
but send us advice, and we'll happily choose one to answer on our podcast. Who knows if we do it every episode? I don't know. Yep. We'll figure it out. But we happily love to help people, and just know that we're not trained professionals, and that we just have life experience, and so take what you want from it and leave what you want from it.
We may twist it though, so just be prepared. It might be something funny, but it will make sense at the end. But this person would love to know. She said maybe you can give advice on mental health and finding the one.
See a trained professional, not us.
Mental health, I mean, it's a big deal, I feel like definitely talking to people.
Yeah, I think...
getting some medicine.
Yeah, I think don't self-diagnose too much.
Yeah, don't Google it.
Don't Google it. You'll think you have everything, including the herpes.
My wife's the world's worst, dude. I swear, if she gets an itch or something, I don't. She doesn't have the herpes.
It's from you,
but she does. She does the most. She will go straight to Google and She's got dystrophic dysplasia. She's become a dwarf.
Yeah.
She's the world's worst, dude. It's the worst thing you could do.
We all do. It's like the new thing. We all have it, and we do probably have. Literally, I think everyone has ADD at some in some form.
You were about to say
our
AIDS.
Phones. Not yet. First time we have the cure, though. But we all have a form of ADD, and of course that's great. But we need to save the definitions of those things for being diagnosed with it. And if you're having problems with mental health, talk to someone. I know there's several places online that you can go to. I know they're not crazy affordable. If that's not an option, it's important for you to find someone to be vulnerable with, that you trust, and to talk to them about these things. Some of these things might not be permanent issues, and some of these things might be, if you had a conversation with someone, you could work it out in your head. You just might need an outside perspective. If it is anything more severe than that doesn't help, I would see an actual trained professional who can help you diagnose exactly what it is. And maybe it's medicine, maybe it's just talking it out. There are ways to help with these things, and I know a lot of people just feel like you got to tough it out, right? Yeah. You don't want to be weak, but sometimes just being vulnerable with people will sort out some of your issues, and not just being so hard-headed and keeping it all up here.
It's just talking about it. You immediately feel like a weight lift off, and you may feel great after just getting it off your chest,
Oh, yeah.
I had that experience with one of my buddies recently, stopped by. He's like, man, I need to just chat. And I'm like, feel free, stop by. He stopped by, and he's texted me after he left. He's like, man, I feel so much better, which he did end up going to the doctor and getting on a little something medicine. And guess what? Medicine's okay. Some people need it. You may have a chemical imbalance in your brain, and that is okay. Don't feel like, you're just a different person because you got to take medicine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't do more than prescribed.
Exactly.
It's not going to work. It won't work if you do more than prescribed. That's not what's supposed to happen.
Exactly.
Okay? when you take medicine, it's a low dosage to where it takes a couple weeks for you to feel the effects. So you need to do that consistently the way the doctor tells you. Otherwise, you're just abusing the drug. And it's not an immediate fix. It takes a little time for those things to set in. It's important to know that. My fiance would be happy I'm telling you all this.
Yes. Think of it as baking a cake. You know, if you put 350 Xanax in your body.
If you start with the icing.
Yeah. You're doing it wrong.
You just
you're doing
got
it wrong.
icing.
There's directions on the back of the box for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it takes time. You have to bake it. You have to do all these things to get to the end result that you want. And it's important. Yeah, I think, people feel weird being on medicine, but there's a lot more people on medicine than you think. And the ones who are messing up are overdoing it.
Yeah.
Don't overdo it. Do it how it's prescribed by the doctor, and it might actually work for you.
Because you could die. Seriously.
Yeah.
You could overdose.
Yes. You ruin your life as well. There's all kinds of things that can happen if you're getting addicted to things. I mean, I won't go into all of them.
So what about finding the one,
Finding the one. I wish I would have thought about this more.
I'm not the person to ask.
There's so much.
Clearly, I've been through them.
Yeah, well, that's not necessary. You get a little bit of both from us.
Yeah.
I've dated a lot of women through my life. I had a lot of girlfriends. Not a lot of long-term girlfriends.
What about men?
I've had you're the longest running, so I guess we're kind of long-term domestics.
We might as well go ahead and just get married.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to hell for how much time we had sex before marriage, but I'm just kidding. Obviously, but finding the one. So it's good to date people, decide they're not for you, and break up with them. I don't know. I feel like I have to say that. I don't know why.
I mean, it's cut dry.
Yes.
I mean,
it's okay to break up with people. Yeah. It's a good muscle to flex to learn to
break their hearts.
Look, I've broke up with people.
I get it. I've had people break up with them for me. I've called my buddy. I'm like, hey, call Randy, who's a girl. Okay. Randy's not a guy. I know it's a guy name, but it's definitely not a guy. Hey, call Randy and break up with her for me. My buddy calls Randy up,
Yeah.
Does my dirty work.
Yeah. Well, but you're not in that relationship anymore.
Exactly.
That's the goal, is that when they're not the one, is to be out of the relationship. You should do it respectfully, but I get it. The main goal is to get out. And so I would practice doing it in person. I think I wish I had, because nowadays I have troubles with confrontation because I didn't work that out when I was younger.
I used to stand in the mirror and be like, it's over. I'm done with you.
Yeah.
We are finished.
Yeah, the meanest possible way of breaking up with someone.
Yeah, and then whenever I get there, I'm like, I love you.
Yeah. Only because
I forget why I came over here.
Yeah. You want to watch a movie and cuddle?
Yeah.
Move in together?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get married.
But it's good to break up with people when it's not the one. Because we get in this thing where it's love is hard and it's going to be hard. And there's two sides of that. You can go so far that you're with someone for way too long and it's toxic to both of you and you're both deteriorating in it. And then there's the case where people break up with people too easily and they're not willing to work things through. And you have to be the one who gauges that. You're the one, the most about the relationship. You and that other person do. So you two being in constant communication, it'll honestly tell. If you can both be honest with yourselves, you can tell if it works or if it doesn't work, and then decide to move on from there. Is it worth it or is it not worth it? And but I guess the question's more about finding the one.
Yeah,
Are you talking about Tinder? Because that's where I found mine.
Did you really?
Yeah,
I found mine in high school and then on Facebook. So. That works for me.
Man, that used to be the thing.
Yeah, there's a Facebook dating now.
Yeah.
My mom's on it.
Okay.
Or was. I don't know if she is anymore.
Finding the one? Are you a dude?
But what I would recommend is pretty much what he said. You've got to test drive the vehicle before you take it off the lot. You know what I mean? I've been through marriages and it's not worked, and that's okay. I know we hear and we grow up and divorce is bad, and I'm part of the percentage now. I mean, it's okay. If you're not happy and you're doing all things that you can do to make it work, it's fine. you know.
The only problem with that is like you kind of just put yourself through more
Yeah.
stress than you needed to.
Yeah. So before you even get to that point, just make sure it's the one before you get married. That's what I would recommend. Don't, a couple, I've had to make the choice to do it because, I'm going to show them,
Yeah.
Before a girl wanted to move in, but before she could move in, we had to be married with her parents. I'm like, well, okay, I'll show you. Let's get married. So that's what I did with my first marriage, and stupid. I was young,
Not a great basis for love.
Yeah, definitely not. And when you're a guy in that situation, you don't care. I feel like if you're a female, it's a little different. Because we're not thinking with our brains, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, this advice is coming from a different place.
Yeah,
you're a female.
Yeah,
females. I don't know how to find the guy.
Yeah,
there's a lot of weirdo dudes. It seems like
communication. Plenty of dates. Just make sure that is the person, and to know that is the person is to feel like it's more than just a relationship. It's more. It's your best friends. You have a friendship within that relationship, and I think that's why me and Whitney get along so well. Like. We have discussions and we may fuss, but we love and then we laugh and we live, and
it feels like family.
Yeah. And that's I feel I can tell her anything. I poop in the same room with her, right?
I still don't do that.
She's been back there to
clean. Have I found the one if I can't poop in front of her?
It's coming. It's coming. Y'all will be pooping in no time. I guarantee it.
That's true. We're not married.
But yeah, but don't get married until you do poop.
That's true. Yeah.
If it's a week out and y'all are about to get married, you need to be like, Kaney, come here real quick. Just come here. I got to take a shit.
I'll slide off the toilet onto one knee with my pants around my
First, you'll have to do the whole stand and wipe like you used to.
The toilet paper stuck between my butt cheeks.
Yep. That's what I would recommend. Just, it's a more of a relation, instead of it just being a relationship, it's a friendship. It's
yeah, it is. Yeah. Your friends in a weird way. Can you hang out with this person and be friends with them? Can you just be friends with this person? If sex and love and all these high emotion things that like, obviously that's great. And it makes you feel a certain way.
Right.
It makes everyone feel a certain way, but hanging out, can you hang out with each other?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like each other when you're not doing those other things? That's a pretty big key to being like, it's just a red flag if you can't, if you don't want to be around them unless you're making love. Yeah, that's a red flag for you right there.
Or when you do argue, can you forgive and move forward and then use that argument to build on to your relationship? Or is that just always going to be in the back of your mind and, I'm just pissed off at this person all the time. You know what I mean?
Holding resentments is something. So like when I was kind of going through my like trying to just sober up from alcohol and all that, one of the ladies I had listened to was talked a lot about like holding on to resentments in your relationships. And it's easy to tell yourself a story in your head about how someone is feeling about you in that moment. And to kind of like amp up the emotion of like how much it upsets you. Like it's like the person's not even saying anything. You're just making up a story in your head how that person feels. And then you start holding this resentment against them. You get madder and madder at them. And if you just talk to each other and you both are coming from a place of wanting it to work, you can let go of those resentments and grudges you're holding against each other. That's not a great, like you can still love someone and it's a personal issue you have with resentments of people. And that's normal and that's okay. And you can work through that. But that's a personal issue you need to work on with how you hold resentments against people. And that does happen. It doesn't mean you're not in love necessarily. It can if neither of you are willing to let go of resentments. But yeah, I think that resentments can be a thing that's a personal issue that you might need to work through yourself. Maybe you're the issue also.
Yeah.
Maybe you are. Maybe you need to be the one who works on yourself.
I'll always, and that's what I would recommend, evaluate yourself first.
Yeah.
That's the first step of any kind of process is this me? Is there anything I'm doing to contribute to this? And if so, then you've got to fix or manipulate that, to figure that part out. But you've got to look at yourself first instead of going to that next person.
Yeah. And that's kind of that cliche of love yourself, right? That's where it ends, is with loving yourself, but it begins with holding yourself accountable.
Yeah. Well, that's our advice, but don't take our word for it.
Please don't. And don't pull us into a courtroom.
Yeah.
Please, God.
Yeah, especially years from now, that would be terrible because we're not going to have any kind of money.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, we appreciate you guys. You got anything before we head out?
I think we're good. We're excited for next week. We're excited for the launch. Hopefully you've got content here.
Yeah, yep. And hopefully you're getting something out of it. And if it's not advice, it's a laugh, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we post videos weekly. New episodes come out weekly, and enjoy the shorts because those are coming out weekly as well. Be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up, and as always, turn on all bell notifications. That way you know every single time me and my best friend here post a brand new video. Until next time, I'm Daniel.
I'm Jordan.
And we're Daniel and Jordan.
Later.